Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the REC podcast, brought to you by REC Comics and Collectibles. I'm your host, Roman Chavez, with me as always,
Erik Icarus.
Eric,
what's up?
You can find us on the gram at REC Podcast. You can follow myself at Roman REC Podcast, and you can follow at REC Comics for at REC Comics and Collectibles. Storefront coming soon.
Coming soon. Come get some.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Enough said. I meant to say enough said.
Yeah. Excelsior. And so on in that fashion. How are you doing, my friend?
Dude, I'm good, man.
Yeah?
Enough
Good.
said.
Dude, I needed a show. I've been so excited. We just got the keys to the property that we will be running the show out of at some point, but then definitely opening REC Comics and Collectibles. I am beyond excited. For those of you that we met at the con, like I said, it's coming. It's coming. So just stay tuned. I'll give you the address once you start getting some stuff up. I literally just got the keys and I'm very excited.
It's going to happen.
It's happening. Oh, yes.
It look good.
Something else happened this week. Loki episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
Eric was not able to get to all of it, but I'm going to tell him, we're going to talk about the finer points because we have something that we're really excited to talk about too. But I can say spoilers for Loki episode 3. This was my favorite episode.
Musketeers.
This was my favorite episode of the first 3 episodes.
Okay.
Of the bunch, as it were. We got more of Sylvie, this kind of Enchantress-esque characters. I still am not entirely certain that she is a Loki, but
maybe?
It's just going, she's low-key a Loki, I don't know. But I thought this was an excellent episode. There was a lot of good dialogue. The internet seemed to be pretty split in terms of, there was not enough action, there was too much talking. I thought it was a pretty good balance of the two. I loved the kind of back and forth that Sylvie and Loki have, and kind of exchanging stories about their parents, and it was really cool to see. Again, I love the relationship between Loki and Frigga, and even though they had limited screen time together, like, you feel Tom Hiddleston's love
for sure
for her.
He did. He did that really well.
And, he had a very sweet and touching story about her teaching him magic, and you definitely got the feeling that it was obvious, but now like, she was there.
Right.
She was there. She really treated Loki as her own.
Right.
And it was very sweet, and he just, like, had some very nice things to say about her. There wasn't a lot of huge comic book references that I picked up on personally. I only watched this episode once, even though I enjoyed it, just time. But I thought it looked great. They're on this planet that is they're hiding in an apocalypse, but Loki chooses, like, the worst apocalypse, and it seems like they're doomed. They're doomed. And there was just this great moment, spoilers, where Loki and Sylvie decide to, like, hey, maybe we can try to save some of these people. Like, this apocalypse happens, but we were not there to help. And there's this very harrowing scene where they're trying to get to a point where they can save this kind of ark, this ship that's getting off world, before this moon is going to crash into this planet, and they fail. And it's just, it was meant to be. It's meant to happen. But in this moment where they're kind of in a woe is me.
Sure.
Are we, will we, won't we? They try to do something good.
Right. They choose to try to save some lives.
Now, the cynic in me thinks that Sylvie is just really trying to play Loki, and she does not give a crap about anything. She's just, like, trying to play him to get close to the Time Variance Authority. We did get a reveal, which is something that we speculated on this show. A lot of people have speculated of that the Time Variance Authority workers were variants at one point. So, and the reason, I think the biggest tip of that hat was just Owen Wilson's overall demeanor, his talking about the jet ski, which is obviously like a 90s thing, late 80s, 90s thing. So I think it makes sense, and I think it's interesting. So,
I mean, like water skiing or jet skiing?
I think he said jet skiing. Did I say water skiing?
I don't. No. I'm just wondering if they're the same thing.
No, water skiing is like where you're being pulled.
Right,
Yeah.
Oh
god damn. One day, kids. One day. Earmark this. We'll come back to it another time. But I'm here for it. Loki is doing really well. It is. I think we're both enjoying it more than Falcon Winter Soldier.
I will say that definitely.
Yeah.
as much as everyone knows who watches this, I love WandaVision. But I am coming around to this. And like my man said, it is leaps and bounds better than Falcon Winter Soldier, which I enjoyed. I did enjoy it. I just feel like this is paced a lot better. Yeah. The story, I'm more involved with the story.
Yes.
Because I feel like we're also kind of getting more of an origin story that was never told for Loki.
Yeah.
You get the idea of who he was in 2012 Avengers.
Yes.
Now you're getting the why.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, he did go through some stuff,
He did, and I am sad to say though there was no Mobius in this episode. No Owen Wilson in this.
Oh, what?
So, yeah, it was a bummer for me. They kind of had that recap where they just kind of showed that last 5 minutes of the previous episode, so he was in that, but no new footage of.
Where did he go?
They just don't know. The episode just focuses on Loki and Sylvie on this planet.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
It is. I think you'd like the dialogue.
Sure.
I think the action was well
pretty paced. Yeah.
But there's some, the internet is undefeated and it is never satiated. So a lot of negativity about it. But I saw more positive than negative.
So favorite one of the series so far?
So far of Loki, yes. Yep. Of the 3 episodes, it is the one I've enjoyed the most.
Awesome.
But we have an anniversary. Not our anniversary. Oh. I know. That fateful day in 1992. But the anniversary of something that I think means more to us than we think about.
I agree with that. 100% agree with that.
And it is the anniversary of X-Force #1.
Yes.
The Rob Liefeld. Here you go. The Rob Liefeld X title that really changed the game. Changed the game so much that there's a lot of copies. There you go. A lot of copies. It is the #2 selling comic of all time.
Yes.
At over 5 million copies. Why so many copies, you ask? Well, in particular, this is 1991. Again, today is June, I think, 29th. The 25th was the 30th anniversary of its actual release date. What drove the sales of this was obviously the idea of a new team, a new title. Everybody's always chasing, that #1 that's going to be worth a lot of money. This is not worth a lot of money because there's so many copies.
Yes.
But this had its gimmick in a way that was fantastic, where each book, we kind of talked about it earlier in the year, each book has a trading card. I think there were 4 or 5 trading cards. This one is the team trading card.
Oh, they got the team in that one?
Yeah, that is the team one. They had Cable. They had Domino, I believe, Shatterstar, and the big one was Deadpool.
Well, the cards are...
Oh, does it say on them?
Yeah, so Cable, Deadpool, Sunspot, and Gideon.
Oh, Sunspot and Gideon.
Yeah, and then Shatterstar.
Okay. And then the team one?
Yeah, the team one, yeah. Oh, man, how cool it would have been to get that shirt, man.
I know.
Oh.
I know. I would like to look for one. So here, and we actually have the Deadpool facing. So this is the hottest of the bunch. The one that earlier this year, the card was going for $800. It was ridiculous. It was in this frenzy. And now this one is still the king of the books.
Bunch, yeah.
But you can get this for about $25.
Oh, that's it?
Dude, yeah.
That's how crazy it drops.
Yeah, the drop was huge. But yeah, this was a big deal for us. I actually got into it a little later than actually the '1 coming out. But this was a new X book. There hadn't been a new X book in quite some time.
Yeah.
Probably since 81, 82 with the New Mutants.
Probably. Which
spun
out of that.
Which this does spin out of that. Rob Liefeld is this hotshot young creator that is fresh off of a very well-received but not big-selling miniseries, Hawk and Dove, for DC Comics. He gets kind of coerced to come over to Marvel with the idea of hey, New Mutants. Well, actually, they asked him to do X Factor.
Oh.
And this is after fan favorite god Walt Simonson and his kind of legendary run. And the sales had kind of dwindled because it had been going on for so long at this point. But Walt Simonson had a fantastic run, did the Archangel stuff, did Apocalypse and the Four Horsemen, really set up some excellent story arcs.
Excellent.
And Rob turns that down. He says, he's young, and he says, I don't want to follow Walt Simonson because he's great.
He's the man.
Yeah, he's the man. And Bob Harris, I believe, is the editor for the X books at the time. And he says, well, what would you think about New Mutants? And Rob and him kind of have this talk where it's like, well, if I do New Mutants, I got to do it my way. And I have some ideas for some new characters. And they said, okay, great. Apparently there's some bad blood transition in Louise Simonson, who is Walt's wife, I believe.
Yeah.
Who had been writing the book. It was very stale. X-Men at the time is probably selling in the 300 to 400,000 an issue. I'm trying to think what the other X Factor is probably in the 200,000, and then New Mutants is 100,000 and below, which is then
is bad. Now that would be like the best selling book.
So it's limping along.
Right.
Rob comes in on issue 85.
Okay.
I think he does like a cover and maybe like a little bit of the interiors. 86, he does his Cable cameo, and then 87 is the first full appearance of Cable.
Okay,
it's that cover that Todd McFarlane does some work on. It's orange, beautiful,
it's awesome cover.
First full appearance of Cable, looks great.
Yeah,
and basically every issue he does from 86 to 100 just like keeps increasing. And I believe by the time New Mutants 98 comes out, it's up in the like 400
oh wow, so
range.
he brought the book
completely
up, turned it around.
Completely turned it around. At this point, he's saying, hey, I wanted to expand on this.
Right.
And around this time, New Mutants 98 is coming out. Maybe even a couple issues before, Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1 debuts and is the highest selling comic book of all time. This is one of 3 covers that Todd McFarlane does for Spider-Man, and I think this isn't even the regular edition. I need to get a new bag on this one. And this book sells 3 million copies.
Ooh.
This is huge. Jim Lee calls Todd McFarlane and says, did you read Spider-Man #1? He says, oh, it's great, blah, 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 it's doing wonderful. The pre-sales are amazing. And Jim tells him, I'm next. He's like, they told me they're giving me X-Men, so next year I'm going to do X-Men. Rob says, oh man, that's great, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he is devastated.
Of course.
Because he's like, I'm going to get left behind.
Oh, yeah.
New Mutants is doing well.
But
if anybody can beat out Todd McFarlane, it's going to be Jim Lee with these X titles.
Yes.
So he conceives of X-Force.
Right.
He tells his editor, and this story comes from Rob Liefeld. He's got a great episode of Robservations where he talks about this. I'm paraphrasing his story, and he's got way more details. It's great. So go check out that episode. It's fantastic. I'm just giving you some of the high notes and the stuff that I thought Eric would think is interesting. Yeah. So he goes to his editor and says, hey, I want to get in on this. I've got an idea for a new book. Like, let me take New Mutants. We can end it. And let me take New Mutants, and I've got an idea for a story. Bob's a little, like the book's doing, like you're doing well in the book.
You're finally just getting on the upswing here.
I don't know if we can get you, because he wants to try to come out before X-Men 1. Because he knows that X-Men 1 is going to do
obliterate everything.
This is going to be great.
Yes.
And he's like, let me get into there. Him and the kind of the head marketing guy for Marvel come with this great idea where they're like, hey, let us come out first. We'll push X-Men 1 by a month or 2.
Right.
And then this can be a lead in to this like new thing, because then Excalibur is going to come out a few months after X-Men 1. So, it's like this will be the launch of the new X universe.
Yeah,
what we're doing.
Yeah.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Yes.
So New Mutants 100 comes out. And actually the Marvel guys, they don't want X-Force to come out. They're like, you know what? We don't think it's going to make sense. It's not going to be a good idea. It might detract from X-Men 1. Like, we don't want to pull from what, because Jim Lee is the baby.
Yes.
He's the wonder kid. Everybody loves him. They want him to be
top cheese. Yeah.
And then finally, they kind of like, hey, you know what? It's a good idea. Like months later, they tell Rob, let's do it. Let's go ahead. Luckily, Rob had already like plotted out like 6 issues, so he was like well ahead. He could do because he's like working on I think Extinction Agenda.
Oh yeah.
And he's working on that, and so he's only got a couple months to like really get. But he had already had all this stuff done. He asked them, "Hey, can I do connecting covers?" And they say, "No, Jim is doing connecting covers. You don't get to do that, but you can do trading cards." And they really wanted to do trading cards so bad because they have never, and I don't think since, there has never been more fan mail about a character than they got for Deadpool.
Really?
So Deadpool shows up in New Mutants 98. Rob has no plans to bring Deadpool back until issue 6 of X-Force.
Oh.
And they say, what? Like,
who is this? Yeah.
We need Deadpool in here before. Can you work him in earlier? And they're like, we're going to put his trading card in there. That's going to drum up a lot of interest, but can you put him in there? And I actually, I've been going through the stuff for the store, and I've got, so this is the second printing of X-Force #1. As you can see, it's gold. Same image, it's gold. But that one's like a nice reader. So, Rob pushes Deadpool to X-Force 2.
Yep.
And I think X-Force 2 sells like 2 million copies.
Jeez.
Like it sells a bunch.
Well, how many does this sell?
This sells 5 million.
This sells 5 million.
And the way Rob tells it is before the launch of X-Force, Todd says, he's like, what's an X-Force?
Right.
He's like, dude, I did Spider-Man. He's like, nobody knows what an X-Force is. So he's it seems like he's kind of downplaying what Rob's going to do.
Right.
And then,
Todd's doing this to Rob?
Yeah, Todd's doing this to Rob.
Yeah.
Because the way Rob describes their relationship is that, like older brother, younger brother.
Gotcha.
Because even though Todd's in their class, he's still like he might be like 8 or 10 years old.
He's young.
He had already done that Batman run, and he was already well established and the #1 selling comic of all time.
Yes.
So not only does it come out, it beats him by 2 million units.
Copies. Yeah.
Doesn't have 3 covers. It only has the 2, but it has the cards.
Yeah.
So
and it's also a fold out too, right?
It is a fold out, and actually, if you want to open up this one. You can open up that one. You can fold that out. So at least like he really wanted that 4 cover thing.
Right. So he compromised.
So the compromise is give me a gate fold, and then he was excited about the trading cards. He was very excited.
So he was on board with it.
Even
though he said I didn't have a gimmick.
Cool. yeah. He doesn't think that's as good of a gimmick.
Yeah.
But look at that. Oh, I mean the art on this. I'm sorry guys. When Rob's on it, he's on it.
There we go.
He is on it, dude. I like this. I don't like all of Rob's art.
But he nails it right here.
He nails it. This cover is so iconic. Yes, his proportions are weird, but like as a kid, I wasn't like, oh, these shoulders are not right.
Shoulder pads are crazy.
No,
it's awesome.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, go for it.
Let me see this. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, this is taking me right back, dude.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the name X-Force.
I did too.
It makes sense. It's like a strike force.
They are
That's
a strike
what put
force
in my head.
He's like, he was like, Xavier wants to be buddies.
In peace.
Magneto wants to kill everybody.
Yeah.
And we need the mutants, but we also need to, use force when necessary.
Right.
And this was kind of like the first time where it's like, oh man, we're gonna be able to start letting Wolverine cut loose in X-Men as well.
Exactly.
He had done some things. I think Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X had come out already, or if not, it comes out close. It's already out before 91. Yeah. Okay. And that is fantastic.
Oh, it's amazing.
Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X run is excellent.
Yeah.
So I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So high sales for us. This is just this was like the first major team for us.
Oh yeah. This was heralding a new sort of genre to us. Yeah. This was taking what we knew about X-Men, and I hate to say this phrase, but making it more extreme.
Yeah.
But when I mean extreme was like it's upping the actions, upping the stakes. Just to play to your point. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to go. X-Men 1 is coming.
Yeah. So yes. So it ended up working, and there's a realm in which X-Men 1 doesn't perform as well because X-Force doesn't come out.
That makes sense.
It's kind of interesting. X-Men 1, and we've got our visual aids on point today because I've been going through comics. This is one of 4 covers. But Jim Lee did 4 amazing covers, which I mean, to this day is one of my favorite
series of covers. It's in there for you, yes.
And they all connected, and it's the X-Men going towards Magneto. Magneto has his own cover. I wish I would have found all 4 of those. But it's a fantastic cover. Those, I don't know, I think Jim still owns the cover art for that.
Oh, I think he does, too.
And those are going to sell, they might sell in the millions.
I'm going to say millions.
One of Todd McFarlane's pieces of I think it might have been maybe the cover for Amazing Spider-Man 300, the first appearance of Venom. Something he did with Venom just sold for like $700,000.
God,
the art world is going nuts with the how the card world went.
They told us as kids that this wasn't a
waste of money.
A waste of money. This wasn't a valid form of art, which I found that very offensive.
Yeah.
You can't not. You're feeling something from this, and as kids, we did feel. This was the call to arms for new X-Men, man.
What's funny is that you see on here, like on the reprint, it says special edition of the first appearance of Marvel's hottest mutant team. But actually,
no,
the team shows up. I don't have a copy of 100 right here, but I do, and I bought this when I was a kid.
Oh crap!
I need
really?
to get it in a frame.
Hey!
But this is actually what 100 comes out. This is what
that's
actually
the cover.
The cover to X-Men 100.
Oh, New Mutants.
Or I'm sorry, New Mutants 100. And that book sold very well. I think it was in the $400,000-$500,000 or 500 copy range.
Yeah, and that's essentially the entire X-Force.
And that's the X-Force team right here. So
except for, is Boom Boom on there?
Boom Boom's back here.
Yeah, that's X-Force right there. Except for, who are you missing? Sunspot?
Sunspot and Richter, I think they leave and then they come back later.
Okay.
And then by issue, I think 2 or 3 or 4, they add Siren.
Yeah. Well, you know who else is in this book, right? Black Tom, baby.
Oh, yeah, Black Tom, man. Strife.
Yeah, Strife.
You know, so Eric's dad was is a great friend of the show. Like I don't even want to say he's like a father to me. He's like a best friend to me. Yeah, he's still into comics. I mean, he doesn't buy anything new anymore. But one of the reasons I'm still into comics, and Eric had access to this.
All this.
Yeah. I had to earn comics, okay? Nobody around me was doing comics. I had to earn this. Eric was already he was just spoon-fed this stuff.
All this cool stuff.
And so I actually got into X-Force a little late, if you'll hand me that, because I've always been into action figures, as you can see by the room, but I fell in love with this X-Men toy line, and they had an X-Force version of it as well. Sorry, I got a little bit of glare. And here we had Cable, and they also offered Shatterstar and Warpath, GW Bridge, Kane, Strife. One of the big ones, Deadpool, and is the hottest of the most sought after of the group.
Oh yeah.
Gideon. I don't know. I think I have Gideon over by me. Strife.
Sheldon Strife right here.
Strife is cool, and so I had opened one too. Actually, I think a friend of mine had opened theirs. And when you take Strife's helmet up,
it's
dun dun dun.
It's Cable.
It's Cable.
And that was a big kind of spoiler to the book.
So I didn't read the book until after I saw this, and I was like, "What does this mean?"
Yeah, and
I think the reveal might be in this one. If not, it's very close.
Yeah, it might be in 2.
It might be in 2.
But either way.
So the toys is what got me going
hooked
back
into this. Yeah.
Yes. And here, I mean, it's perfect. Here we go. We got Gideon. There we go. There are others that I have, but I was just kind of showing off
got my girl right here.
Yeah. Domino came much later.
Much later. Not in this wave, but had to show some love here to Domino. Not a bad sculpt.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah. They never got the girl. They
still struggle with women.
Sometimes the female figure, but then sometimes they're great.
And sometimes they're just the best one really nice ones. It's crazy.
It was such a formative.
Right.
This is the blueprint for Image Comics right here. This was when Extreme Studios, Rob's version of Image was coming out. This was like, hey guys, we're going to do a lot of stuff like this. A lot of his characters that are Youngblood and Prophet and Brigade All of that stuff feels like it's adjacent.
This is a template right here.
Adjacent to the X-Force universe.
I mean, it's only a few years after, right?
It's your style. A couple years after.
Couple years.
Yeah.
So there's some bad blood happening behind the scenes, even when this is coming out.
Well, they're making so much money for Marvel. These guys are
they're
like...
not making anything.
You know,
that's the problem.
I mean, I think he said his commission check on this one. So after he'd already been paid, his first commission check was $1 million.
Okay, that's not bad.
But you know,
but they're making hundreds of millions. Well,
exactly. Maybe not hundreds, but you know, they're making tens,
tens of millions.
A lot more than what Rob is doing,
so
and that's what all those image guys were trying to do. They're like, we can do this, and almost all of. I mean, I think Spawn 1 sold over 1 million. Youngblood 1 did. It's
Wildcats. Wildcats good.
Or Shadowhawk maybe got close. There was a ton of those image titles that all sold.
They all sold
and it ruined the market,
and it did.
And the image guys will argue that, but it's like, guys, we see it. It just flooded the market. It just watered everything down.
It kind of did,
and it was
what it was.
Yeah.
It did even the playing field a bit.
The market was already going that way. It was already going to tank. But then it was like this. They were bailing the water out of the ship, and then Image just like dumped so much water into the ship. Just flooded it, But X-Force #1 was so new age.
Oh yeah.
It was strong.
Right.
It had great visuals. It had great mystery because the whole thing was like nobody knew who Cable was.
Right.
What was his
who is this guy?
He's from the future. He says that we have to fix things now. But who is this guy? And spoilers, kids, it ends up being that he is the son of Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Is his name Nathan?
Nathan Summers.
Okay,
yeah, Nathan Summers. He's Nate Grey for a while, or Nathaniel Grey, or actually Nathaniel Ascani because he's raised by the Ascani tribe.
Yeah.
Future stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is a character that at one point in the 90s was toe-to-toe with favorite mutant with Wolverine.
Well, easily.
Deadpool, I'm more of a Cable guy than a Deadpool guy.
Sure.
Personally. I love Deadpool.
Yeah.
But
Cable's got a good story.
Story's great. His look is fantastic.
You can't mess with that. What's cool is before we knew this, he has this metal arm. And we always just assumed he got his arm blown off in some war. But it turns out he's infected with the
technorganic virus.
And he turns out that, being the son of Jean Grey, he is a high functioning telepath. But he's using
host for the Phoenix too.
But he's using all of his telepathic abilities to hold the virus at bay. That's why he can't really use his telepathic abilities. Yeah. So he's got to rely on guns and stuff like that. Yeah.
And when he does use his telepathic abilities, it's like close range.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I don't want to get up.
Yeah.
Hand me the remote.
But and another, we're just throwing another little spoiler in here for you. Domino does not actually appear in this issue.
No, Domino doesn't appear in New Mutants 98 either. That's her first cameo appearance. She actually doesn't show up to issue 13, I think?
Well, you know what I'm getting at.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No. I don't know if I'm explaining it right.
Go for it.
Is that when the real Domino shows up?
Yes. I think it's issue 13.
Okay. So it turns out that there is an imposter in the midst here.
Yeah.
And that's Copycat.
Copycat, yep.
Has taken the place of Domino.
Yep.
So as readers,
Vanessa in the comics.
Oh.
Yeah, so Vanessa's character. So I was always wondering if they were going to go that route, but that is Copycat's name is Vanessa.
Okay.
So, that is his love interest in the movie.
And that was a twist I didn't see coming reading this.
Nobody did.
I mean, I was like, what?
That was the one thing that Rob really had going for him. He introduces, at the end of issue 86 in that panel in 86. So that's in probably 1989 or 1990.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Probably 89. So it's a long time before we start getting anything about Cable. And then not only that, we get a Strife.
Yep.
And then we get a reveal like, oh my gosh, somebody else is under the mask. And then we get a reveal, oh, this hasn't been Domino the whole time.
Right.
Just
keep hitting you.
The guy, I don't think Rob Liefeld is as successful if he was a 70s artist or if he was a 2000s artist, like if that's when he boomed.
Sure.
He defined a generation of artists and really showed us like different things that can be done in comics. I love what he said that, he said, Jim Lee would get great compliments from like military guys about like his Punisher run.
Sure.
And they're like, oh my god, the gun is so perfect.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. And Rob kind of adopted the same thing that Jack Kirby did. Was like, I'm just gonna make my own guns.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have to worry about what it like. I want it to look the way I want it to look.
Exactly. That's the point of being an artist.
Exactly.
Having your own perspective.
Yes.
And Jim's does focus on realism.
Oh gosh.
That's kind of his bread and butter.
It's my fave.
Yeah.
Rob,
but you can be surreal like Rob and Kirby.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
Granted, we bag on him a little because I don't think he's I don't think he's branched out as far as his art is concerned. A lot of his characters do have they have
very similar faces.
The same face. And it's all good because it's a Rob Liefeld creation.
Yeah, and
nothing wrong with that, baby.
And what's good about Rob is that he can tell a story, like he can craft a story. So when he has these guys, when you have Jeff Loeb helping you script things, Jeff Loeb's gonna round some things off. But I mean, these are his characters, his stories. I will tip my hat to Rob about this. This is a completely new idea.
Yes.
Jim was restarting the X-Men and was biting on John Byrne stuff.
Sure.
On old stories that like were he revisits the Savage
Land.
Yeah. He really starts playing the hits.
Yes.
Starts covering the hits really well. Spider-Man already exists. Already does now. Todd and Eric Larson, they really grow Peter Parker up pretty drastically.
They do, which needed to happen.
Yes,
in that story.
And but those things all existed. Rob made a new team.
Yes,
took a failing X title,
sold, brought it up to like competitive like selling rates.
Yes,
he was killing it.
Brought it up to what X-Men's did.
Yeah, exactly.
Brought New Mutants, which is like the worst title. I don't mind it because I grew up listening to it. But even Rob says he's like New Mutants is a terrible name for a book.
It was dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It should have. I mean, they were the X-Men.
They should have just made it a different team name.
And I mean, they were the X-Men. This was the original X-Men have left, and Xavier puts together a new team of X-Men.
Oh, okay.
That's what New Mutants #1 is.
Like, I just thought they were like the younger.
They are, yeah, but they're the next class.
Oh,
yeah, they're supposed to be like they're gone, and
we
then those guys are off
graduated.
in X Factor.
Yeah, gotcha.
Then they're the X-Men.
Yes,
but it's like about them like learning from a younger age and all of that stuff. You get the Hellions and you get Warpath, who then he adopts and puts them in. So I think Rob deserves more credit than we want to give him than the haters do for sure. Because this was a brand new concept, and this triggered an entire. The 90s X-Men is where we really...
the wave.
Yes, this starts the wave. This is where we don't get, phalanx, really fun storylines if this doesn't work. And now you can say, we can look back and be like, oh my God, they were floundering. These weren't very strong. These are all gimmicks.
They
Fatal
were
Attractions.
Right. To a point.
Cable's a big part of Fatal Attraction.
And he is. We also got to give a tip of the cap to Fabian.
Fabian Nietzsche, who... Rob, I've been listening to Rob Observations since episode 1. I don't think I've heard him say that dude's name at all.
And for those who don't know, he does get a co-creating credit
on Deadpool,
Cable.
I don't think Cable.
Oh, no, it's a Deadpool.
Yeah, I think Gideon. He gets him on Deadpool though. Yeah, Deadpool, Gideon, and but I've not heard him, and I've not heard the story from his mouth.
Right,
just what I've read.
Basically, the scripter.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
he helped Rob script out the story.
Rob is very much in that Marvel way thing. Same thing with Stan Lee, where it was like, hey, this is where I want the story to go.
Right.
Get us to this part.
Yeah, exactly.
And whereas Rob made the visuals, made the script.
Right.
And,
maybe just storyboarded it.
He put, okay, you want Cable to get here, and you want him to say this, but he also has to say these other things to get here,
so we need
too.
to, giving credit where credit is due, but sounds like it just helped, man. I don't think it deserves a co-creating credit.
Nor have I heard Fabian go out there and say anything.
Maybe they just have a truce, an uneasy truce, where it's like, look, I can bury you, you can bury me.
Yeah.
You have more to lose, but I don't have a lot to lose. So it's just like
Rob's always talking about that he's gonna leave a lot for his memoir, that he wants to do a memoir one day. So
I'd read the hell out of that.
I would too, because he has no.
Because that guy will go. Yeah, he'd go after anybody.
Yeah. He has no qualms about like calling you out on your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he hates it when people call him out.
Yes, he
but
does.
He
He
does
can't
have,
take it.
But he tends to try to back his stuff. He's like,
He's got valid points most of the time.
I've got the receipts. That's what he always says. I've got the receipts.
But yeah, this sparks the way for our generation, and you know, not the second you said this was more important to us than I probably realized. You're right, because this did kind of give that '90s comic boom. This was the start right here. X-Force.
This
not
is just
X-Men #1 with Jim Lee. It was this.
This is just a few of the copies I have. Like I bought this up after the fact, and I'm still buying copies.
Oh
when I can find them.
I feel like maybe Todd McFarlane lit the fuse with Spider-Man.
Yes, he definitely lit the fuse.
He brought in that kind of '90s art that
competition
we all realize,
breeds success in a lot of
absolutely
cases. You could argue that this and X-Men 1 don't sell as well if Spider-Man doesn't
I
show
agree
you
with that,
because people got to take chances.
Exactly.
Because the Spider-Man offices, they were trying to get Rob Liefeld to come over there.
Ooh.
Because you have all the adjective Spider-Man, spectacular, web of,
and he can draw
amazing, and all that stuff. But again, like Rob's trying to make his own name.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing with Rob. I will give him that, man. He loves doing original work.
And dude, he's like 22 when this.
That's
comes
insanity. That is crazy.
Think about what we were doing at 22.
I can't remember.
We did not launch. I mean, I think when Rob was said and done, and he had probably done close to 100 characters for Marvel.
Woo!
In his short time there, if we're being honest,
that's insane.
He it wouldn't shock me if he has more creations than Todd or Jim.
Maybe Stan. It's up there.
I don't know how. I'd have to look up how many actual.
Yeah, I mean it's close regardless.
You know? Yeah, it's pretty bananas. I think people need to pay more attention to New Mutants 100. I think it's an undervalued key because it's technically the cameo appearance.
Sure.
Whatever we want to get into. But
plus that movie was so amazing.
Yeah. I didn't watch it.
I'd seen pieces of it.
I don't have it. I don't have it in me. But these toys, oh my gosh!
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna be buying more of these when we get the shop open. I got a couple extra too that I'll bring in to sell kids. Don't you worry. You'll be able to get your licks. All right.
Yeah.
But happy birthday to X-Force. Thanks, Rob, for I mean, a lot of fun.
Thanks for the memories.
Thank you for the memories. And that's our show.
Yes.
If you like what we're doing, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that alarm button so you get alerted when we have new episodes coming out. Comment below. Were you an X-Force fan? Do you like the more modern incarnations? I love the Wolverine versions.
I do too. It's very cool.
It's another evolution of that. And, it has its place. But this was the start.
Yes.
So let us know below what you think. Are you digging Loki? Yeah, you forgot we talked about Loki. So did I. It's just, hey, I was so excited to wish X-Force a happy birthday. Eric, do you have any final thoughts for us today?
You can't force it, kids. Even if it's an X. You just can't force it.
You gotta X-Force it.
Bam!
All right? Yeah. All right, kids. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Roman Chavez.
I'm still Erik Icarus.
And we will catch you guys on the next podcast.